All right, guys. So with those two things down and out of the way, off the top, those two reviews, we're going to get into our main topics now. And our first main topic is going to be probably the biggest thing that's come out of the entertainment industry news, I'd say, for quite a couple of weeks, if not months at this point in time, just because there's been so much of a lack of it, really. Um, is none other than Disney Plus announcing that they are going to be taking Mulan straight to kind of VOD in a way, because they're putting it straight on to Disney Plus with an additional $30 fee associated with it. So you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to be a Disney Plus subscriber in order to have access to Mulan, and then in order to get Mulan, you have to pay a $30 premium to get it. And when you hear that at first, I guess it doesn't sound like too terrible, but it's kind of created a lot of I don't know, like a lot of shakeups. There's been a lot of mixed reviews on this whole thing since it got announced, and with good reason. Because one, if this does work for them, and we'll get into kind of more the the financial aspect of it here in a bit, but if this does work out for them financially, this could really change the way that the whole theater industry really kind of exists as it stands now. Because Rick, I don't know if you know too much about this. Have you seen this kind of this Mulan story and Disney Plus thing?
Well, I saw the trailer originally. I think I saw it when I saw Rise of Skywalker, but with the idea that it's going to Disney Plus, like I'm kind of conflicted about it. One, it's easier to access, so you don't have to go to a theater to watch it. But at the same time, when you're paying $30 on top of what you're already paying for Disney Plus, does that make sense necessarily? I mean, I guess that's their way of making money off of it, but
well, that's the thing. It's obviously a financial thing. I mean, that's all it is. Because like, in order for them to make money off of Mulan, to make for them to break even with after production and marketing and everything, for them to break even on Mulan right now, they have to make $300 million. Okay,
it's a lot of money.
That's a tall order for. I mean, for most movies, $300.
What's $30 times what to equal that though? You know, like how many people have to buy it to make that money? I don't know the math off the top of my head, but
well, it'd be at $30 an hour, or $30. At $30, they'd have to what would it be? A million, right? Or a million?
Yeah,
10
but
million.
I'll put it this way:
10 million,
million or 10 million.
10 million.
How many Americans exist? Like, I mean, I guarantee you they'll make that.
Well, that's the thing, dude. I don't.
It's
know
Mulan.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. I'm not gonna buy it.
I'm not gonna buy it either. But I mean, there's a lot of people out there that I know that love Mulan. And, you know, you got to think of like the general consensus of like 90s kids that grew up with like Mulan. And, you know, they're going to pay for that. I'm not.
Well, that's the thing.
But
this will only work for no, if they sold 10 million, that'd be 300. So
that's a lot.
We're really shitty at math, apparently.
Yeah, that's a lot, but I don't see that being like out of the question by any means.
No, wait, that's what we were looking for. We needed 300 million. Yeah, so we were fucking right. They would need to sell 10 million because they needed $300 million.
Yeah, I could easily see the.
Yeah. So they would need. Yeah, we're not that shitty at math, guys. That shitty. We know.
I'm pretty shitty at math.
This is a fucking educational show, obviously. So we know what we're
talking. Uneducated.
We know what we're talking about. Yeah. Honestly, but no, but that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna. For a lot of people, it's why would you pay $30 for it if it's just gonna come out 3 months from now on Disney Plus anyway for free? True. As a part of your membership, and
you're paying on top of your membership. Like,
no, exactly, and that's the thing that a lot of people have a problem with. They're like, "Well, why would I? I'm already a member of Disney Plus, so why would I want to do this?" And I think that kind of leads into some of the things that I think they could have done to actually make this a little bit more compelling for people. Because the new CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek, said, like, one, this is going to be like a one-off thing, which it's not going to be a one-off thing if it works. Like, if this works and they get 10 million, 20 million people to actually buy this thing, so if they make profit, and then if they break even and only sell 10 million, then yeah, they're probably not going to really try this again. If they were to make any sort of profit off of this, then you bet your ass they're going to do this again. Like with some movie out there.
Yeah.
Like they can say that it's going to be a one-off all they want, but it's only a one-off if it doesn't work. Like, and the thing is that like for them to make this more compelling, because Bob Chapek said as well, like Mulan coming to Disney Plus in this format, being released in this way, they're hoping it is going to be like an incentive for people to sign up for Disney Plus. So they in turn get more Disney Plus subscribers on top of them paying.
I don't see how that makes
$30 for
sense
this movie.
though, because you want
Exactly.
people to sign up for Disney Plus, but on top of that, it's like, by the way, if you want to watch Mulan, pay us 30 more bucks. Like,
Exactly.
you know, and especially with everything going on with COVID and all that, you know, money's tight for a lot of people.
It is, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the thing. And like obviously they've been dealt a shitty hand, and they you feel like they had to try this with something, right? Because I know there's been a lot of people wondering, like, well, why didn't they try it with, you know, this film or this or that film? Like, why didn't they do this with New Mutants, for instance? Just
Sure.
because the problem is, like, with New Mutants, like, they were already in a contract with that to where they had to release it theatrically, like, prior to all this being done. They have a contract with, like, NATO, it has to go out. But that aside, even, it's not a very good litmus test for New Mutants because a lot of people don't know what the hell New Mutants is.
Yeah.
Like it's loosely connected to the X-Men universe as it is, and it's essentially a new property. So like they're not going to get the kind of data and results that they actually are looking for, despite what Bob Chapek's going to tell everybody. And as far as like we're concerned, because again, like I said, they'll say this is a one-off, but if Mulan makes 400-500 million dollars, maybe if it even at the very least breaks even, this is not a one-off. They're definitely going to do this again. And the main concern, though, obviously, like we said, is that like why would people want to pay the $7 a month or whatever it is for Disney Plus just to pay another $30 to watch Mulan as pretty much just like early access, because eventually in 3 months it's going to be dropped onto Disney Plus anyway. And there in hand is kind of like the issue that like I don't know, I just felt like they could have probably done this in a lot better of a way. Like for instance, Rick, if they would have said sign up for Disney Plus for a 6-month commitment, like, or even if you sign up for Disney Plus for a year commitment, we'll say
We'll throw in Mulan.
you get Mulan for for X price, so if it's $7 a month, let's say they take half the fee off or something, and then say so you get 6 months free of Disney Plus, but you have to pay a year up front, like minus the 6 months. So you pay the 6-month fee and you get Mulan. You know what I mean? Or just something like that. So you essentially get 6 months free of Disney Plus and you get Mulan into it to get the new subscribers in, right?
Sure.
Like I feel like if they would have done something like that, that would sound better than having to just come out and pay an extra $30 outright. Because like again, if it's only $7 a month, you're looking at like $84, $90 a year, right? So if you were just to do 6 months free, then you're looking at $42, which is essentially what they're asking new consumers to do right now.
Sure.
So they kind of get the best of both worlds at that, and they're not losing out of any money necessarily because they've already had, like, I have a year of Disney Plus for free through Verizon. So like, and there's any Verizon member got a year of Disney Plus.
That's how I got it, through my ex-girlfriend. Like,
yeah, like
yeah.
you didn't even have to pay for it. So they're already like sitting in a boat where they have like I think like they just broke like 50 or 60 million subscribers or something to Disney Plus as it is, and probably the majority of those are paying as it is too. And like I don't know, I just feel like they could have done something more to actually get those new subscribers in, because if getting the new subscribers is something they're really hoping this would do, I don't think essentially having to pay nearly $40 and then an additional $7 a month is really the way to go. It doesn't sound like a compelling thing for me.
No.
And then especially being a Disney Plus member already, despite me having a free year, I don't want to pay $30 for a movie right now.
I wouldn't.
Just to watch it at home. It's completely different if you're going out.
Well, it's The other thing too is it's not like, a Star Wars movie being released or this or that. It's Mulan. And it's like you
Mhm.
either loved it or hated it or just didn't even care when we were younger. And it's like I'm not gonna pay $30 to see that.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because a lot some people made the point to where like Black Widow is what they should have done this for. That would have been better. Like that would have probably got more people to be okay with it. And
I'd watch
where
that.
I could see that being valid. Like maybe Black Widow would be more successful in this format. But I can tell you right now where Black Widow will be more successful, and that's in the theaters. Black Widow isn't going to make $1 billion streaming on Disney Plus.
No.
Black Widow is going to make $1 billion in the theaters, though, and they know it will because all of the MCU movies average out at $1 billion.
Yeah.
If you take all of them that have come out and just do the average, they're averaging $1 billion a film.
It's pretty good.
That's really good. And like, yeah, obviously you have some of them like the Ant-Man ones make around 5 to 7 million a piece, but like I said,
Even so.
you have other ones that make, like Endgame and your Avengers movies that make $1 to $3 billion.
Yeah.
So you average these films out and they literally make about $1 billion per movie. So them putting Black Widow out may, yes, make them more money than Mulan would in this format, but they're still going to be losing money at that point.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes the same way with New Mutants. Like Disney themselves didn't put any money into New Mutants. They acquired New Mutants when they purchased Fox. So at this point in time, they're not losing money on New Mutants. That's done and paid for. They just kind of have it. So any money they do make in the theaters is essentially all profit. Like it doesn't even. It's not really profit, I guess, since you still like they kind of they paid $70 billion for Fox, but they're not like with Mulan. They had to literally fish out the 150 million to make the movie, then the additional 150 million to market the movie. So that 300 million break even mark is what they need for it. New Mutants is just kind of like a wild card. They'd be better off throwing New Mutants in theaters and just getting whatever they can get from it. And like I said, despite what Chapek is saying, this will not be a one-off. If they get 10, 12, 15 million people to buy it, because then you're looking at making your 300 million and then some.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the other interesting thing, though, kind of like I said off the top, if this is successful, if this whole releasing, a streaming service essentially releasing their product to like a feature film like this, like Mulan, Disney releasing it on their own streaming service, it does set an interesting precedent, just not for VOD in general, but for the streaming platforms. Because another thing that I kind of just thought about on the top of my head, Rick, is what would you think about like Netflix or Disney Plus or like, Peacock or, whatever. What would you think about these streaming services actually having like not just doing this release plan? Because like, yeah, they could just drop movies on, VOD on their streaming service like this for $30 and just see what happens. But what would you think about them actually doing something like Netflix is what, like $14 a month right now or something?
Yeah.
I forget what it is.
That.
What if they made like a $30 a month plan to where you got these premium movies as well? Like what if they bundled that in?
I mean, I'd be into that. That's a lot more logical than having to pay $30 each time a new movie comes out. You know what I mean?
Because that's the thing. Something like this would only work if they weren't releasing these films in theaters. Because that's the problem is like, since Mulan is going straight to Disney Plus and being a paid VOD movie, Disney cannot release this movie in theaters anywhere that Disney Plus is available. They can, because it's a simultaneous release, which I should have probably set up at the top. But so they're releasing this on Disney Plus only in markets where Disney Plus is not available, because they have obligations with NATO, not the military one, NATO, to the National Theater Association.
You got to clarify that.
I know every time I feel like I do, just because like I say, like, yeah,
it's necessary.
Disney works with NATO, so they're a fucking big deal.
Yeah. Right.
But you like, the theaters are not going to play a movie in their theaters if you have it available on a streaming service, and that's kind of like the thing. Like, so the plan that I'm saying, like, what would be a better incentive? Like, if say like the theater going, say the theaters, because this is the big thing where I'm saying, like, if this is successful, this will literally change the theater industry fundamentally. Because if Disney is able to make, like I said, like, let's say they make $500 million on Mulan,
Yeah.
which is like what, 15 million people signing up for it or something. They won't really have too much of an incentive to put the movies in theaters for some of their films. Like,
True.
and if it's a proven thing to where they try it with Mulan, and let's say since it's new, because that's the thing, they're going to chalk it up to if it only makes quote unquote $500 million, okay, which that's a pretty good amount of money for a lot of movies. $500 million is great, especially a movie like Mulan. That's probably what they would hope for. They'd probably obviously be hoping for about 800 million, but I'm sure they wouldn't be like too mad about 500 million because
No,
it'd still
definitely.
be like $200 million profit
Oh
when it
yeah,
comes
for
down
sure.
to it. So I could see it in the future, like them making not just like Disney, but like just streaming services in general, like not bothering putting the movies into theaters if they can, if they know that they can just literally put it on their own platform, potentially bring in more subscribers on top of an additional fee that gets them a $500 million, gross on their film.
Sure.
Why would they put that in theaters? Because then if you go to theaters, you have to give the theaters like a cut, and like, it's just like a whole thing. And it just sets a precedent, man. Because like the theater industry could actually, like, if this works, it could really change as we know it. And I feel
Yeah.
like if we were to go down that road and like the theater going experience, because like the theater industry would have to adapt at that point. They wouldn't be able to sit there and, like, they wouldn't be able to say, "We're not gonna play your movie in theater if you're gonna release on your streaming service," because if the streaming services can find out that they can make 500 million without the theaters, then they'll be fine with not putting it in theaters.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the worry, like, and that's, I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying
It's just weird to
that's what's
me,
gonna
like
happen.
the change of everything with COVID going on and all that. It's changing everything. And I mean,
Yeah.
Mulan's a perfect example. So
Well, no, yeah, that's the thing. Like, and they people always say like the theaters have to like adapt and things like that, but like they'll really have to adapt in this situation because, like I said, again, if Disney learns that they can make $500 million on their own, the theaters aren't going to be able to say no to putting like these movies like exclusively in theaters prior to their streaming service because they won't need the theaters anymore.
yeah,
Like if they learn that they can make this money
this may
without them,
kill the theater industry.
if successful, it literally could.
Yeah,
Because and then like it could, again, if we were to go down that road, the theaters would have to allow both to happen. Like they'd still play the movie in theaters. They're gonna make a shit ton less money than they ever did before.
true.
And the theater the studios they're just gonna be making more money essentially. Like, because I would see the only way that would work is if the theaters, like, because that's the thing. If it were to work out and like the theaters have to like kind of cave and like just say like, okay, fine, you can do it because we need to put something in our theaters, like they can't just not put everything in theaters. Like if Disney finds out they can make this much money, like what's to say they're not going to do something like Black Widow directly
Yeah,
to their thing?
yeah,
And then the theaters, they make good money when they get some, when a movie makes $1 billion at the box office in the theaters, those theaters made a lot of money.
for sure.
And like with this, they're obviously not going to make any money.
No.
So they're going to have to, like, if these streaming services learn that like we don't need the theaters, so if you don't want to play it, then fine. Then they're going to have to just kind of cave and play them simultaneously, which means the theaters are going to want a bigger cut from the studios. Essentially, it's going to put all the power into the studios.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and it's what it is. So, like, ticket prices are probably going to go up at the theaters, like, because like the theaters are going to have to take more money on their end, and then if it could be really fucked up. Like the things, it's like kind of like just astronomically fuck up the theater industry. Like if not completely kill it. And like I said, if we were to go down that road and theaters are just kind of like dead, kind of like Blu-ray, like physical media is like kind of dying out, then I think the streaming services will have to come up with something better than just charging $30 for every new movie that comes
Oh,
out.
for sure. Yeah.
Because I mean, I could see where $30 for like a family of 5 to watch Mulan at home is a killer fucking deal.
Oh, it really is. Yeah.
Because like if you're gonna take your wife and 3 kids out to see Mulan in theaters, you're gonna pay $150 after food and tickets and everything. Like seriously.
Whereas you can just put a pizza in the oven or something like
Yeah.
that. DiGiorno.
Yeah, $30 to watch the movie. Like, granted, it's not in the theater because that's the other
$5 to $10 to make some food, microwave popcorn.
Yeah, or even order for some food in, like you said, some pizza or something, and still only be like $20. Like, you
Yeah.
literally spend a third of what you would spend going out.
For
Granted,
sure.
you miss the whole event of going out.
See, I don't really care about that. Like, I like being. I'm kind of a
Yeah.
homebody, but I know you're different. You enjoy like the theater experience, and
Well, I like seeing a lot. To me, a movie like Mulan is really not a movie I would go see in theaters anyway.
No.
It's not a movie that like I would care to like. I really don't care about seeing it at all. Like, it's not something that speaks to me.
Honestly, I was gonna say like if I don't see it, like I won't be upset.
No, but like I recognize it's a big movie, and this move is
a pretty big deal.
It's a big
Yeah,
deal. Yeah,
yeah.
and like Mulan itself is a very well known Disney property. You know what I mean? And Disney is
Yeah.
Disney. So like it's definitely a big deal that it's happening. But like I'm not like the target demographic for it. Like I thought the trailers are good and everything for it, and I liked the movie as a kid.
Trailers
like
look good. Yeah, for sure.
I mean I don't have anything against it, but like I'm kind of like I don't know, just a stereotypical kind of like moviegoer as far as theater going goes, because I really just like to see like the big blockbuster movies in theaters. In all honesty, like I like
Endgame or
those kind of movies are like I'm going
Rise
to
of
the theater.
Skywalker.
Yeah, like I want to go to the theater to see.
Well, you
Star
want that
Wars
experience
movie.
with like the sound and it's
The
just
sound
it's
and
different.
the crowd, like like when like the end scene in Endgame, like the portal scene and everything, like yeah, it's a great scene just to sit and watch. But like the first time you see Cap pull Mjolnir to him in an audience full of like 300 people or whatever it is,
and they're all super
and everyone's
psyched
fucking going wild, like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because like it was dope, like
it was dope.
you don't get that if you're just watching it at home, like
Yeah.
on your little TV, like you know what
I mean, whether you've got kids with you or not, or family.
Yeah, and whether you have a fucking big ass fucking 4K, QLED or whatever TV, it's not the same. Like even if you have your family there with you, and you're all like, "Yay!" It's just like going to like a sports game, a sporting event. Like you can watch the game at home, but like when you're at the stadium, the crowd and the atmosphere, like there's an energy there that you can't replicate.
No.
Kind of like Comic-Con at home. You know what I mean? You obviously Comic-Con at home learned the hard way that you cannot replicate the Comic-Con experience virtually. It's about being there. And like granted, it's also about content, which they did not have. But that's a topic for a different time. Like it's just but as a whole, that is kind of the only like downside to like if this works, it could really change the landscape of theater going, if not kill it altogether. Which, I mean, I'm kind of like you. Like, I like staying at home. I don't really like going out a lot, especially right now. Like, I don't want to go out right now.
I'm very much
like,
a homebody right now.
I'm definitely not trying to go be in like a movie theater right now. So it's. But I tell you, like, and that's the thing too. Like you mentioned, if this was a Star Wars movie, I'd probably pay the $30 to see it. I'd be disappointed I couldn't go see it in the theater.
Star Wars.
But I need to see the damn movie.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see it.
Like, let me in.
Yeah, like, the only other problem with this, too, is, like, piracy. Like, it's
gonna happen.
The day this is available,
it's gonna be available in Pirate Bay and all that stuff.
Everywhere is gonna have this thing for you just to download and watch it for free. So that's obviously, which is primarily the biggest reason that studios don't do this is because they know they're going to lose out on like a pretty substantial amount of revenue by pirate. Like you wouldn't think it'd be a lot, but it's a substantial amount. Like there's a substantial market of piracy out there that is just missing revenue essentially to the theaters and this kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm, I don't know if it's the best move. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. But I don't know. That's kind of all I had on it. You got any more? You got any more thoughts on this at all?
No, I think you basically covered everything I've thought. So
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? Do you think that if this works, kind of like me, it could really like completely change the landscape of, if not completely kill the theater, going just not just experience, just kill the theater industry? And let's say in a world where that does happen, what kind of model would you like to see these streaming services adopt as opposed to like $30 per film, which for like single people, that's a pretty steep thing. 'Cause that's another thing that we didn't really talk about because I mentioned, yeah,
yeah.
for 5 people, like a family of 5, $30 to watch a movie is a pretty good deal. But for like a single guy or a single gal, $30 to watch one movie at home, like on your shitty TV, that's not a very good deal. Like, and especially
I wouldn't pay that.
yeah, and especially if this is gonna come out on that streaming service in 3 months from now for free anyway, that's not a very good, like, way to go about that. Like, that model, I don't think would work long term. So, like, what do you think they would need to, if this does go forward, do you think that these streaming services would need to adopt, like, a premium plan that gives the members, access to these kind of like early release, like, kind of like video game model, like DLC kind of thing, early access. If you pay the $30 a month instead of $15 a month, you also unlock early access to, feature films, we'll call them, that kind of concept. So whatever you guys think, just let us know down in the comment section below.